Do you have any idea that the Sahara Desert, which is by far the largest desert in the world, has a fascinating history that is concealed beneath its sand? You cannot help but wonder what's hidden behind all those millions of tons of sand in the Sahara. In this issue, we want to take a trip back in time and find out whether this portion of the African continent was always been a dry and lifeless desert, or something else. Let's investigate the Sahara to discover the secrets buried beneath its dunes, as well as other astonishing facts about this enigmatic region. Let's begin the search. The first on our list is Lost River. There was a time when the Sahara Desert did not exist. The edges of the sand dunes have moved throughout the course of millions of years as a result of changes in the climate. In the same way that scientists can look for old signs of water on Mars, they have also turned their focus to the history of the Sahara Desert. According to the findings of recent research, the Sahara was previously home to the world's 12th largest drainage basin, which originated from within the desert itself. An underwater canyon off the coast of Mauritania was found to have been carved out by the river, which brought to light the remains of the river that formerly flowed across the country. Additionally, river sediments were discovered in unexpected locations. The use of satellite imagery provided conclusive evidence that a long-lost river still exists. The name of the river that was thought to have been forgotten is now known as the Tamanrasset River, and researchers are still working on learning more about a body of water that may have evaporated only 5,000 years ago. The upcoming next we have is giant whales. Not only rivers but also lakes and other bodies of water have been swallowed up by the Sahara. Because of the passage of geological time, a region that was previously covered by water has evolved into one of the driest on the planet. Evidence of the Tethys Ocean can be found in Wadi al-Hitan in Egypt. Wadi al-Hitan is located in Egypt. It is one of the best places, while it may seem unlikely to find fossils of whales. The area is known as Whale Valley. The fossils found in this area shed light on how whales transitioned from being creatures who lived on land to being ones that spent their entire lives in the ocean. When the progenitors of current whales passed away 37 million years ago in the ocean, the dirt that covered their remains helped preserve them. Their ancient abode was transformed into the land as the crust of the earth continued to rise. Paleontologists are currently examining the skeletons, which measure 15 meters in length, as well as the species that lived in the sea at the same time. The teeth of enormous ferocious sharks have been discovered beside the whale bones that were discovered. Moving forward to the next mystery, P-40s from World War II Kitty Hawk P-40. Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping was attempting to deliver a damaged P-40 Kitty Hawk to a British location in the desert so that it could be repaired on June 28, 1942. At some point during the trip, the airplane and the teenage pilot who was flying it vanished into thin air. The wreckage of the airplane was not found until 2012, when a worker in the oil industry happened upon it by accident. There were still indications of a parachute having been used to make a shelter, despite the fact that the aircraft had never been disturbed and remained in a significant degree of its original condition. After that, the plane was sent to the El Alamein Museum, where it was given a restoration that not everyone was happy with. There were many who thought that as a memorial to the young pilot, the airplane should have been left where it was. Some people remarked that the restoration work that the museum had done made it look like a model that had been inadequately painted. After the plane was found, there were no traces of Dennis Copping to be found anywhere. The Sahara is holding on to yet another mystery, and this one concerns his whereabouts and eventual outcome. Next we have Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is the largest carnivorous dinosaur that has ever been found, continuing the trend of maritime discoveries being made in desert environments. Spinosaurus was a dinosaur that lived approximately 95 million years ago. It reached a height of approximately 7 meters and had a length of approximately 16 meters, making it longer than the more well-known T-Rex. Spinosaurus did not look or behave in any way similar to its more well-known competitor. In addition to having a number of other adaptations that left scientists scratching their heads, Spinosaurus featured a massive bone sail that protruded from its back. It is currently believed that Spinosaurus is the only completely semi-aquatic dinosaur that has ever been discovered. Researchers were not truly able to examine Spinosaurus until another collection of fossils was discovered in Morocco. This was due to the fact that the bones of the initially discovered Spinosaurus were destroyed during World War II. The fact that Spinosaurus has long, flat feet for paddling and nostrils located high on its snout, which let it breathe even when it was mostly submerged, are two of the pieces of evidence that indicate it was having spent at least some of its life in the water. People living in ancient waterways must have felt a chill similar to the one we get when we see a shark's fin coming their way when they see the enormous sail that was carried on the creature's back. Upcoming next we have Gobero skeletons. This list has already included Paul Sereno at one point or another due to the fact that he was a member of the team that discovered further fossils of the Spinosaurus. He happened upon the greatest human graveyard in the Sahara Desert by mistake while on one of his expeditions to the Sahara in search of dinosaurs. The site at Gobero in Niger has occupied as early as approximately 10,000 years ago, and the evidence suggests that the surrounding environment was once more verdant and lush. There are human remains, as well as those of fish, crocodiles, and other creatures mixed up with human remains. A substantial number of the findings consisted of things that were only sticking out of the sand. An excavation that took place over the course of 2 years uncovered over 200 human burials and indicated 2 distinct periods of settlement that were separated by more than 1,000 years. Both the Kiphians and the Tenarians left behind evidence of their lives after they disappeared. Harpoons, bone jewelry, and arrowheads were all found in the same location, and all of the artifacts suggest that they were used for hunting in the waterways nearby. A surprising number of the graves had quite peculiar characteristics. The body of one man was found buried with his head in a pot, and the body of another man was found resting on the skeleton of a turtle. It's possible that we will never fully understand how these folks lived and passed away. The Sahara is not divulging all of its information just yet. The next on our list we have naphtha stones. Life will cling to any available source of water in a desert, so look carefully for any signs of it. Around 9,000 to 6,000 years ago, humans lived in the area that is now known as Naphtha Playa, which is located in southern Egypt. At that time, the region was susceptible to yearly floods, which created a lake. Neolithic people traveled to that location to graze and water their livestock. These people were able to not only make it through that environment, but also build a society based on the concept of sacrifice. There have been discoveries of ritually buried cattle, sheep, and goats in that area. Around 6,000 years ago, the people who lived in Naphtha arranged big stone blocks in the shape of a circle, with additional slabs of granite arranged in a spiral pattern outward from the center. The example shown above is a mock-up. It has been asserted that this stone circle, which is more than 1,000 years older than Stonehenge, is the first known building that is astronomically aligned. One researcher asserts that the circle aligns with the position of Orion's belt as it would have appeared in the sky 6,000 years ago. However, there is still some controversy regarding the exact meaning of the circle and where it points. Next on the list is Libyan desert glass. Other signs of cosmic impacts can sometimes be seen even after the remnants of meteorites and the craters they left behind have been removed. A meteorite collided with Earth approximately 29 million years ago, releasing enough energy to convert a large portion of the Libyan desert into fine green glass sheets. This event occurred in the region of Libya known as the Libyan Glass Desert. The crater that was left behind by this explosion has not yet been located, but there is still a significant amount of desert glass about, and it can be found in some surprising places. When Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun, he found among the treasures a jeweled breastplate, also known as a pectoral, that belonged to the deceased king. This breastplate was discovered by Carter when he opened the tomb of Tutankhamun. The green glass was used to craft a revered scarab beetle and place it at the heart of the structure. The Egyptians most likely had no idea where the glass came from that they used in their artifacts, but there was another piece that was fashioned from a material that originated from another world. The iron used to make one of the daggers in the tomb originated from a meteorite. The tomb contained several daggers. The other hidden mystery we have on our list is craters and meteorites. Rocks and meteorites from deep space have continuously showered down on Earth since the planet's formation. The vast majority are destroyed by their own combustion in the atmosphere, leaving behind nothing more than a faint smear of light over the sky. Others make it to the ground and have repercussions that are quite devastating. The craters left behind by such impacts are frequently unnoticed due to the fact that the majority of them occurred in the distant past. This is because erosion and plant growth cover them up. The wounds, on the other hand, are still visible in the deserts. The Camille crater, which is located in southwestern Egypt and measures 45 meters wide and 148 feet in depth, clearly shows where an iron meteorite struck approximately 5,000 years ago. However, one need not search solely for the craters that were created by meteorites in order to find them. Shards of the meteorite itself have been found strewn over the area surrounding the Camille crater. These fragments were broken off by the impact that created the crater, and they were scattered across the sand. This is not a lone discovery made in a vacuum. The Sahara Desert is the source of nearly 1/5 of all meteorites that have been retrieved from the sky. This is due to the fact that meteorites stand out on the dunes, and they are frequently just waiting to be picked up. The ice and snow of Antarctica are the only region on Earth that offers a better chance of finding meteorites. Up next we have lost fortresses. Explorers are now able to see beneath the canopies of the most impenetrable jungles and reach the heart of the most inhospitable deserts, all without even having to get out of their chairs. This is made possible by satellite technology. The remnants of more than 100 fortifications belonging to the Garamantes people of Libya were discovered by satellites in 2010. Because the oil industry has done a thorough job of mapping the area in their hunt for suitable locations to drill, archaeologists were able to examine satellite images to look for telltale evidence of walls. Later on, scholars on the ground were able to prove that the constructions had truly been built by the Garamantes, despite the fact that their trips were cut short by the revolution in Libya that deposed Colonel Gaddafi. Last but not least, we have Mashemosaurus rex. There have always been monstrous creatures living in the oceans. Mashemosaurus rex, a crocodile that measured 9 meters in length, called the area that is now the Sahara Desert its home around 120 million years ago. It is believed that the M. rex was the largest marine-dwelling crocodile that ever lived. It is likely the region where M. rex previously called home was a large lagoon that extended all the way to the Tethys Ocean. It was able to break the shells of sea turtles and seize fish thanks to its enormous head, amazing bite strength, and short, incredibly sharp teeth in that environment. It is also possible that it scavenged for food among the dead bodies of larger animals that inhabited its habitat at the time. That's all for the video today. If you think we have missed out on any points, do comment and let us know, and we will make another series for the same. Until then, please like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.